My name is Beck. After high school, I went in to do a Bachelor of Social Sciences, which is psychology, and then I took a year off and I've gone back to study a Bachelor of Social Work. I studied social work because I was doing psychology, and at the start of my final year, I went over to Thailand to do some non-for-profit work, working with, people with, in the slums and, doing some community development. And I felt very strongly about the people that I saw over there and the situations that they were in. And, one of the people that I saw, they were begging on the side of the road and they had no arms and no legs. And that wasn't what shocked me, but it was the shame that they felt because they were in that position. So I wanted to do more work in that. So I thought you don't have to be in a third world to see people in need. So I decided to move out of psychology because there was no rebates or anything like that. It was very expensive, and so I wanted to be in a profession that was more accessible for people. So I finished my psychology degree and moved into the Bachelor of Social Work. I'm working at Anglicare as a family services worker, so working with families at risk of breakdown, and we're children focused, so looking at child development and the effects of trauma and violence on that. My day-to-day duties, we do a lot of home visits. We have a small amount of clients so that we can work quite comprehensively with them and look at support. So we go out and we do an assessment, talk to the family, just get to know them, and then look at what might be beneficial to their children and to their family to help just everyday running better. And if there's situations where the children are at risk, then we try and help the family to decrease those risks for the children. One of the other reasons that I went into social work was because the job opportunities are so vast. I like the fact that I won't necessarily be in the same job for 50 years, my whole career, but I can change my job 30 times and I'll still be a social worker. So at the moment I'm a family services worker, but just in this office here, I could work with groups, I can work with men's violence groups, I can work in foster care or therapeutic foster care, and before this I was working with people with disabilities. You can move from one to the other quite easily, and because social work is quite comprehensive, and you might have a child and you're doing therapy work, but the experience that you've had in a range of fields always helps with those positions. I enjoy just meeting people and the fact that they may have been stereotyped into different pockets, but really they're just people, and I can relate to them, and I can bring my personal stories to them, and we can just have a cuppa and a chat and things like that. So, and I like the fact that it's very diverse. The advice that I would give to someone who's thinking about becoming a social worker would be to think about how you want to spend your time. And if you want to spend your time trying to help people and trying to be of assistance and trying to do something beneficial with your time, why not get paid for it? Which is really why I went into the profession, because I was volunteering a lot and I thought, I'm wasting all this time in hospitality doing business when really I could be getting paid and doing it for 40 hours a week. So think about what you're passionate about, and that's why you should become a social worker. I'm at the start of my career. I only graduated less than a year ago, and I've done 2 positions in the field, and I love it. The best thing that I find about the job is getting to know the people. And probably the second best thing that I love about the job is that we're working in a system and a structure that is very unequal and is not fair to everyone, and not everyone gets given the same opportunities. And so to help people work on an individual basis to kind of break down those barriers is really rewarding and important for me. Probably the best piece of advice that I've ever been given was by one of my supervisors in my last placement for social work, and it didn't really have anything to do with my career choice or anything, but it was a way to view the world and a way to see people and to think about people to be able to have every opportunity. So say people with disabilities, a lot of people think that they have very small potentials, but really they should be awarded every opportunity that everyone else has. So to go interview every individual in that way. Probably one of the most rewarding things about this job, I worked with a young man who went to a disability school, and he didn't get taught to read or write, and he really had a passion for architecture. So he wanted to become a draftsman. So he actually taught himself how to read and write. So he did all the hard work, but I got to help him into, getting into TAFE to do his VCE equivalent, and he's moving on to do, architecture next year, which is really, really exciting. So it's nothing that I've did, but just meeting those people and doing those little bits of assistance to help them get to where they want to be.